Often referred to as the no-win scenario, the Starfleet Academy test involving the Kobayashi Maru in the mid-23rd century would propel its class, the Starlight Class, to fame and fortune, even if most didn't realize it. But what do we know about this considered tragic class? Well, today we'll find out. Hello and welcome to another episode of Truth or Myth Beta Canon, a Star Trek web series that dives into the history of any given topic using beta canon sources and my own imagination to fill in the gaps. In today's episode, we're taking a look at the TOS era Kobayashi Maru, a part of the Starlight Class, to better understand its place in Star Trek history. Please note, as I've stated on many occasions, I get inspired by this channel's audience to make videos on specific topics, and this is one of those times, with a commenter asking me to create a TOS version of the Kobayashi Maru, and so I did. Taking elements of the Franz Joseph designs, along with FASA and more contemporary sources, I think I've been able to create a starship class that we can all be proud of. But, of course, and as always, because this is just a fanfiction video, all information relayed should pretty much be taken with a grain of stardust and only considered a little bit of Star Trek fun. And so, with all that out of the way, let's begin.
Imperative. This is the Kobayashi Maru, 19 periods out of Altair 6. We have struck a gravitic mine and have lost all power. Our hull is penetrated and we have sustained many casualties.
Words that would be ingrained in the minds of every Starfleet officer since almost the moment of the organization's conception. A no-win scenario, the Kobayashi Maru test would evaluate the character of the various Academy cadets it was administered to through the use of an attack on a simulated Kobayashi Maru by enemy forces. The test itself was impossible to beat, with one very famous exception, the solution presented by James T. Kirk. Not believing in the no-win scenario, Kirk would reprogram the simulator so it was possible to rescue the damaged freighter. For his ingenuity, he would receive a commendation, going on to become the youngest person ever to make the rank of captain up to that era in Starfleet's history. What most Starfleet officers never realized, however, was that not only was the Kobayashi Maru a real Starfleet vessel, but that through all the eras of Starfleet and the Federation, there would be a vessel of that name operating out in deep space. During the mid-23rd century, the Starlight Class Kobayashi Maru would be born. Sitting at a length of 224 meters, the Kobayashi Maru was designed to be operated by 102 officers and crew members. Launched in 2246, the Kobayashi Maru, like all Starlight Class starships, was designed with a twofold purpose in mind. The first was safely transporting neutronic fuel. As everyone knows, neutronic fuel was an important commodity in the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th centuries, finally being replaced by ion-powered generation near the midpoint of the 25th century. The second purpose of the design was for passenger transport. Getting the biggest bang for their buck, Starfleet Command would order its design teams to continue the tradition of comfortable transport for Federation citizens, to reach their destination not only in style, but quickly. As a result, the Kobayashi Maru and the Starlight Class would have a standard safe cruising speed of warp factor 5, with an emergency maximum speed of warp factor 7.2 for 15-hour increments, all old warp scale of course. Tactically, the Starlight Class was never intended to go into battle, with her mission profile stating that the class would remain in the core of the Federation, and so she would be lightly armed, containing only 4 out-of-date phaser emitter banks total, and no photon torpedo launching systems. 2 single phaser bank emitters would be mounted on the top of the saucer section, designed to reach targets to port and starboard of the class, while the main dual emitter phaser bank would be mounted on the underside forward area of the saucer section, intended to strike enemies ahead of the starship. And although, as previously discussed, her mission profile said that the class would remain in the core of the Federation, the truth was of course very different, with necessity and border expansion forcing starships like the Kobayashi Maru further and further out into the final frontier, and closer to enemy borders. But it should also be noted that though attacked on occasion by pirates and raiders, no vessels of the Starlight class would ever be lost or involved in a no-win scenario. The Starlight class would also contain 2 large shuttle/cargo complexes in the aft section of her hull. Again, using the more bang-for-her-buck principle, it was felt that this class could also act as a cargo-carrying vessel design. 2 large pods would be added to the class to house the neutronic fuel. Capable of being detached for a quick swap or in an emergency, most of the inner workings of these pods was designed to keep the fuel safe and in stable condition. Special magnetic shielding containers known as bottles were set up in the massive pods, with each bottle containing 4 emergency containment backup units, not only to ensure safe transport, but to also give the captain of these ships adequate time to jettison the pods should containment begin to fail. Only 2 vessels of the Starlight class design ever had to jettison their fuel pods for a containment emergency. With the technological explosion of the 2270s, designs like the Starlight class became obsolete almost overnight. And although the Starlight class proper would continue in operation into the 2280s, by 2283, Starfleet Command would make the decision to decommission the class, replacing it with a much newer, much more advanced version. And although called the Starlight class refit, the truth was that not a single original Starlight class vessel would ever be upgraded to this design, Starfleet Command having learned its lesson from refitting the USS Enterprise in the early 2270s. Instead, new vessels of the class would be constructed from the ground up, slowly replacing the original Starlight class vessels in the process. And by 2292, the final vessel of the Starlight class, the Kobayashi Maru herself, would make her way to the decommissioning shipyard at Beta Argo, with no pomp and definitely no circumstance. Created as an all-important infrastructure starship design, the Starlight class would become as famous as any hero starship ever created thanks to the infamous no-win scenario, earning this class its unexpected place in Starfleet history. Thank you for watching today's episode of Truth or Myth Beta Canon. What do you think of the Starlight class and the historical narrative that I've created here? Do you want to see more videos like this one? Well, leave your comments in the section below, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, hitting that little bell icon so you won't miss a single video we release. Want to help the channel beat the no-win scenario? Then consider becoming a channel member subscriber or a channel patron. Both a major help that allows this channel to purchase resources and 3D models to keep it going. The link to both memberships is in the description below. Thanks again for watching. Live long and prosper.